Good morning, children. Today we will read about the annexation of Awadh. We will read that how a new revenue policy was adopted by the Britishers in the region of Awadh, how the Nawab of Awadh was exiled by the Britishers, and what was its repercussion upon the people of the Awadh, and how they rose in revolt against the Britishers. So what were the causes of the severe revolt in Awadh against the Britishers? That we will discuss today. So first of all, you can see that there is a quotation, a cherry that will drop into our mouth one day. This is a quotation by Lord Dalhousie, was the Governor General of British East India Company in India from 1851 to 56. So during that regime, he announced that Awadh is like a cherry that will drop into our mouth one day. Why it happened so? It was because of the British policy. He was aware that the Awadh would be annexed finally by the Britishers. Lord Dalhousie followed the policy of lapse in India, and according to that lapse policy, the kingdom of Jhansi, Satara and many other kingdoms were annexed by the Lord Dalhousie. But now the turn was of Awadh. Awadh was not annexed because of the policy of Awadh, rather it was annexed under a different policy that we discussed in the last class, and that policy was the policy of subsidiary alliance. Let me tell you what was the policy of subsidiary alliance. Under that policy, there was an agreement which had to be materialized between the king of a particular kingdom in India and between the Britishers. According to that policy, there were certain terms and conditions. According to the terms and conditions of the subsidiary alliance, the king had to disband his army. The king cannot have an external relation with any other state. He cannot go into the battle against the other state. He cannot have a friendly relation with the other state without the permission of the Britishers. And a resident of the British East India Company would always remain in the court of the king. In this way, he would keep an eye upon the administration of the king of that particular kingdom, which has entered into the policy of subsidiary alliance with the Britishers. So the same kind of policy was signed by the Nawab of Awadh, and his name was the Wajid Ali Shah. So Wajid Ali Shah entered into the agreement with the British under the policy of subsidiary alliance, and the policy of subsidiary alliance was started in India by Lord Wellesley. So the British wanted to acquire Awadh, and there were many reasons why the Britishers were so keen in Awadh region. First of all, the land of Awadh was very fertile because it is irrigated by the Ganga and its tributary river. So it is having a very good soil, and this land was suitable for agriculture, especially for the agriculture of indigo. And indigo was a plant that used to produce a blue colored dye, and that dye was required in the British industries, especially in textile industry, for coloring the textile. So the land of Awadh was suitable for that kind of cultivation of indigo in India. And as a result, the British wanted to acquire the land of Awadh at any cost. First of all, they started controlling the Indian territory from Bengal, and many other states were also taken over by the Britishers in India, and the final completion of the land acquisition by the British could be done after annexing the Awadh. So Awadh was the last state which was annexed by the Britishers in India, and they wanted to annex it at any cost. So they entered into the policy of subsidiary alliance, and Nawab signed the policy of subsidiary alliance, and under that policy they tried their level best to capture the region of the Awadh. As a result, they were very much sure that one day they will get the Awadh region, and that's why Lord Dalhousie quoted that Awadh is like a cherry that will fall into their mouth one day. So they were very hopeful getting the Awadh region. So annexation of Awadh, that was done in 1856. This statement was given by Lord Dalhousie in 1851, and finally in 1856 they acquired the territory of the Awadh, and they dethroned the Nawab of the Awadh, that is Wajid Ali Shah, and they said that Wajid Ali Shah has become quite ineffective and he is not able to rule the Awadh. So on the account of misrule and maladministration, So on the account of maladministration, the Nawab of Awadh was dethroned by the British East India Company and the territory of Awadh was captured by British East India Company. And Wajid Ali Shah, who was the Nawab of Awadh, he was sent on exile to Bengal. The life was gone out of the body. This is again a quotation, and this is the quotation of the people of Awadh. Means the life of the Awadh's people had gone out of the body. Now Awadh has become quite dead. Why? Let me explain. The British dethroned the Nawab of Awadh, thinking that the Nawab is not popular among the people because he was made totally ineffective under the policy of subsidiary alliance. Because of the policy of subsidiary alliance, he was not having his own army, so he was not able to control the law and order in his state. And a British resident who used to keep an eye upon his administration while remaining always in the court, he was interfering in all the policies of the Awadh or all the administrative decisions of the Awadh. As a result, the Nawab, with the passage of time, started becoming dependent upon the Britishers. Increasingly with the passage of time, he became dependent upon the Britishers. So the British now thought that it is the right time to remove the Nawab in 1856, because now the power was not in the hand of the Nawab and he had become quite ineffective. And they believed that because of the ineffectiveness of the Nawab of Awadh, now he would not be liked by the people of Awadh. So he had become quite unpopular. So they believed that Nawab is not that much popular now, so it is easy to remove him. But they undermined the popularity of Nawab. The Nawab was still very popular among the people and he was liked a lot by the people. As a result, when he was exiled by the Britishers, the people of Awadh said the life was gone out of the body. Means उनके शरीर से जैसे प्राण ही निकाल लिए गए हों, क्योंकि अवध का नवाब जो था लोगों को बहुत ही ज़्यादा प्रिय था. Nawab Wajid Ali Shah was displaced and exiled to Calcutta, that is in Bengal. He was so admired by his people that his subjects followed him all the way to Kanpur. Means when he was exiled, the people started following him and they followed till the Kanpur, singing songs of lament. Means वो दुखी होकर के गीत गाते गाते उनके पीछे चल रहे थे. There was widespread emotional upheaval. The people became quite emotional when he was exiled to the Calcutta, because people could not bear the loss of the Nawab from their state. They wanted that Nawab should continue his rule in the state of Awadh. So they disliked the decision which was made by the British, because the Nawab was very much popular among the people. Contemporary writers observed that the life was gone out of the body and the body of this town had been left lifeless. They believed that now the body of the town of Lucknow, which was the capital of Awadh, had become totally lifeless because its life had gone out of the body. And who was the life of the body? That was Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. Folk songs mourned that the honorable English came and took the country. और जो वहाँ की भाषा थी, अवधी भाषा में उन्होंने गीत गाने शुरू किए. दैट अंग्रेज बहादुर आइन एंड मुल्क लियो लीनो. मीन्स द ऑनरेबल ब्रिटिशर्स केम टू देयर स्टेट एंड दे हैव enslaved the state of Awadh. They have captured the state of Awadh from the Nawab of Awadh. So in this way they started lamenting the exile of the Nawab, and they were having a very soft corner for the family of the Nawab. So when there was a revolt in the Awadh region, and the son of the Nawab, that was Burjis Qadir, he was made the leader of the rebellion people in Awadh. Now, with the dethroning of the Nawab Wajid Ali Shah, there was an impact upon the life of the people. And what was that impact? That we will discuss here. Loss of livelihood of the people who used to be working in the court of the Nawab, like his servants, his nobles and there were many administrators who used to work under the Nawab. Now due to the dethroning of the Nawab, their job also had gone away. So there was a question of the livelihood for these people. As a result, they did not like the decision of the Britishers and they turned against the Britishers. Secondly, summary settlement, a new revenue policy. This was a revenue policy which was implemented by the Britishers in the region of Awadh, and it was implemented in 1856 and it was very oppressive, so that was also not liked by the people of Awadh. Leadership of Begum Hazrat Mahal. Begum Hazrat Mahal was the wife of Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. Who was she? Wife of Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. So she was wife of this person. So when the Nawab was exiled, the rebellious people of Awadh made Begum Hazrat Mahal as their ruler in the absence of Nawab. An unfriendly relation between the officers and the sepoys. Now the sepoys were also from the Awadh, and a large number of sepoys in the Bengal army were from the Awadh. As a result, Awadh was also called as the nursery of the Bengal army, because maximum soldiers in the Bengal regiment or Bengal army were from the region of the Awadh. And generally, who were the sepoys? They were the son of the peasants. So peasants were affected due to the policy of summary settlement, and as a result, the soldiers who were the son of the peasants, they also were with their family members, because they used to exchange the news with the family members. So they also started turning against the Britishers due to the policy of summary settlement. Awadh was called as the nursery of Bengal army, that I told you, because maximum soldiers in the Bengal army were from the Awadh region. Firangi Raj and the end of the world. So from where the word Firangi has come? As we discussed in the last class also, under the heading of crusade wars. So there were many crusade wars in the region of Syria and Palestine and Israel by the army of the Pope, and they were wearing the cross. That's why they were called as the Crusaders. So at that time, the French army was helping the Pope in conquering the area which was towards the eastern side of the Mediterranean Sea. So a number of Frankish soldiers settled in that area, and they were called as the Frankish people. They were called as the Frankish. So with the passage of time, the word Frankish turned to be Firangi. It has become Firangi. So the Firangi word has come from the Frankish word, but now it was used as the derogatory term for all the Europeans who used to rule in different parts of the world. The same way the Britishers who used to rule in India, they were also European, they were also the white people, so they were called as the Firangi. So it was a derogatory term used by the Indian people for the Britishers. So Firangi Raj and the end of the world, because now the Awadh was under the control of the Britishers. So there was British rule, so it was called as the Firangi Raj. And end of the world. Why it is called as the end of the world? Because the system which was prevailing there in the Awadh before the arrival of the British, that was ended by the Britishers. So there was an end of the world. So what kind of system was there prior to the arrival of the British? That we will discuss here. Under the Nawab, the Talukdars, you can see that this is the image of a Talukdar. So Talukdar was a very aristocratic person, he was a very rich person, and he was controlling a large territory in that area. So he was like the Jamidar, or he was like a feudal lord, had enjoyed a fair degree of autonomy as long as they accepted the suzerainty of the Nawab. So there were many Talukdar, there were hundreds of Talukdars which were under the Nawab of Awadh. So they were like the in charge of that particular territory. They were like the Zamindars, rich feudal lords, and they were having a lot of powers in their hands. So they were like the autonomous ruler of the territory which was controlled by the Talukdar. They paid revenue to the taluks of their taluks to the British. Now taluk word is used for tehsil, and tehsil is like a sub-district, means it covers a large area. So they were in charge of a large area, and they were also acting as the revenue collector of that area. So they used to collect the revenue from that area, and part of that revenue was kept by the talukdar for the maintenance of a stipulated army which they used to have, and generally it was having 12 to 15,000 soldiers under them. So the expenditure of those soldiers were met out with the revenue collection from the territory which was under their control, and a large part of that revenue was deposited in the imperial treasury, in the treasury of the Nawab. So they used to be under the Nawab, and they were acting like the revenue collector. They were also acting as the manager of the law and order in that territory. So many talukdars had armies of about 12,000 to 15,000. They were the foot soldiers, and even the smaller one had armies of about 200. So there were many talukdars who used to be rich, as well as there used to be some lower category of talukdars, and even the lowest category of talukdar was having 200 soldiers under them. And these talukdars used to help the Nawab at that time of crisis. They used to go in the battle along with their army to help the talukdar. They were annexed, disarmed. So when the Nawab was exiled, the talukdars were also dethroned. They were annexed. Their army was disbanded, and their best forts were destroyed. So they were also having the forts, and they were called as the kilachas or kilas. So they were also destroyed by the Britishers, because Britishers were very intolerant about the power of the talukdars. They believed that with the passage of the time, the talukdars may turn to be rebellious against the Britishers, and since they were having a large army under their control, so they could be a challenge in the future for the Britishers. So they wanted to disarm these talukdars. They wanted to remove them from their position. They wanted to reduce the power of these talukdars. So they were brought under the British control. Their armies were disbanded. The taluk which used to be under their control, that was snatched away from them, and it was said that the land which is acquired by these talukdars, that was acquired through the foul means, and the real owner of that land were the peasants. So they took the land away from the talukdar, and it was redistributed among the peasants. And they thought that in this way the peasant would become loyal to the British rule. Displacement of the talukdar, we will read further about the talukdars. The British land revenue policy reduced their power because they were dethroned. They introduced a new policy that is called as the summary settlement in 1856. Like they introduced permanent settlement in Bengal, here they introduced summary settlement, and it was introduced in the year of 1856. It was based on the idea that the talukdars acquired the land by force. It means they acquired the land of the peasant by force and by foul means and by fraud. So the real owner of the land was the farmer. So they are not the permanent owner of the land. Talukdars are not the permanent owner of the land. As a result, the land was taken away from them, and it was given to the peasants, or some part of the land was also kept by the company itself. And they removed them from the power. For example, in pre-British time, the talukdars used to be 67%. 67% land was under the control of the talukdar. But now their number had been reduced, and it remained only 38%. So from 67%, they reduced to up to 38%. It means maximum land under the talukdar was taken away by the Britishers. So in this way they reduced the power of the talukdars to a considerable level. As a result, talukdar also turned against the Britishers, and since they were having a lot of influence in the peasant community, as a result the peasants were also instigated by these talukdars. So whenever the revolt took place in the region of Awadh, talukdar and peasant joined together against the Britishers. By removing them, the British thought that they will settle land with the real owner of the soil, that is called as the peasant. They thought that by giving the land directly to the peasants, they would have the loyal peasantry who would help them to administer that region. They wanted to reduce exploitation done to the peasants. and they wanted to increase the revenue returns of the state. Since the talukdar was working as the middleman, so a large part of the revenue was kept by the talukdar. But the British were very eager to increase their revenue collection. As a result, they dispossessed the talukdar and they settled the revenue collection directly with the peasant. And they believed that in this way, peasant would be benefited and company would also be benefited, because now there is no middleman. So the total revenue would be collected by the company itself. So this would increase the income of the company. In actual practice, this did not happen. So they wanted they wanted that their objective should be fulfilled under the policy of summary settlement, but it could not be done. Why it could not be done? Although revenue increased, the burden of the peasant did not reduce, because they started demanding the high revenue. The company fixed a high revenue rate. As a result, the farmers found it very difficult to deposit that high revenue demand. Officials soon started finding out that there was an increase in the revenue rates from 30 to 70%. Means 30 to 70% revenue was increased, which was too much. And that was the year when the crops was also not good, but the rate of revenue was increased manifold. As a result, the farmers found that they are exploited by the Britishers. So they wanted to hark back to the earlier system which was there at the time of the Nawab. So they wanted to go back to that same system which used to be there prior to the arrival of the Britishers. So they thought that the Firangi Raj had come, the end of their world. Now, there were some other reasons why the revolt was extreme in Awadh. So here we will see that relation between white and the Indian officers. There were officers in the army, both Indian as well as the white people. As we discussed that Awadh was called as the nursery of the Bengal army, means maximum soldiers in the Bengal army were from Awadh region. So prior to the uprising of 1857, the relation between the white and the Indian officers was cordial. So there used to be white officers, but before the revolt of 1857, there was a cordial relationship between the officers of the British as well as the Indian soldiers. But after 1830, the tide began to turn. There was a change in the system. What happened before the 1830? There used to be a very good relationship between the Indian soldiers and the British officers. Generally, the British officers used to care and share with the Indian soldiers. They used to eat together, they used to wrestle together, and sometimes they used to go on hiking together. So there was a close link between the white officers and the Indian soldiers. As a result, there was a bondage between the officers and the soldiers. And Indian soldiers liked at that time the white officers. But after 1830, tide began to turn. After 1840s, this relationship underwent a drastic change. Means whatever cordial relationship used to be there prior to 1840, that was changed after 1840s. What changes took place? The British officers considering their Indian sepoys as racially inferior. Now, earlier they used to give equal treatment to the Indian soldiers, but now they started believing that the white people are superior and Indian people are inferior. So they used to call the Indian soldiers as the racially inferior, and this enraged the Indian soldiers. In this way, Indian soldiers started turning against the white officers because they used to be discriminated by the white officers, and they were racially abused by the white officers. There was also a close link between the peasant and the sepoys. Generally, who are the sepoys? Till date, the sepoys are generally from the peasant families. So maximum sepoys at that time were from the peasant family of Awadh. and peasants were already against the Britishers at that time because of the oppressive revenue policy which was adopted by the Britishers. The grievances of the peasants were also discussed within the sepoy lines. So whatever happening with their family member in the Awadh, because prior to the British, prior to the summary settlement, the talukdars used to collect the revenue from the peasants, and that was a flexible system. Suppose if there was a crop failure in that area, generally the revenue was remitted by the talukdar. So that was a flexible system of revenue collection. But after the summary settlement, now the British were exposed totally to a new system that was very oppressive and that was also very inflexible. So that was an inflexible demand by the company. So they did not like the new revenue system, and under the new revenue system they were exploited to a great extent. They were also given a bad treatment by the company officials, and these news reached to the army sepoy lines, and the sepoys were again the sons of these peasants. So there was a close relationship between the sepoys and the peasants. So whatever bad was done to the peasants, in this way the sepoys used to come to know about that. They also started becoming dissatisfied with the British rule, and they turned against the Britishers. Awadh was called the nursery of the Bengal army, that we discussed. The sepoys also complained about the difficulty of getting promotion or leave. So there were many problems which were also faced by the sepoys, and these problems are like the promotion. The Indian soldiers were not promoted as the British soldiers were promoted. So they were discriminated in the promotion. Secondly, they were also not behaved properly, and there used to be racial abuse by the white officers, and there were many misbehaved against the Indian soldiers. Thus their discontentment spilled over into the ranks peasantry. When the sepoys took up arms, they were joined by the peasants. So whatever happening with them in their units, the news of that misbehave, maltreatment and lack of promotion, they were also not paid good salary. These all news also reached to the peasants of Awadh, who used to be their family member, and the peasants were already dissatisfied with the summary settlement which was implemented by the Britishers. So the suffering of the both peasant and the sepoys was one, that was the British government. So they wanted to uproot the British government. So when the soldiers turned to be mutineer against the Britishers, they were also helped by the peasants. And it is believed that in Awadh region, soldiers and peasants joined together, and in every village a large number of people joined this movement against the Britishers, and it is believed that 75% youth of the Awadh turned to be the rebellious against the Britishers. As a result, such a large number of people rose against the Britishers in the revolt of 1857, so it could not be curbed easily by the British government, and they found a lot of difficulty in suppressing the rebellious people of Awadh, and it was extreme in Awadh. That's all.